This week's episode of XIV Reborn is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. What's up, everybody? Welcome to XIV Reborn, episode 37 for May 17th, 2014. You're watching Game Breaker. I'm Gary Gannon. Coming up on today's show, the next live letter is scheduled. We're going to start marching towards patch 2.3. Maybe we'll talk about some jumping puzzles. I don't know if we'll get to that, some other stuff. But episode 2 of the duty commenced aired Friday and all that. Tons of stuff to talk about today. Joining me as always, Mr. Michael Poveromo. How are you, sir?
Doing good. I like the casual setup you got. It is Saturday, so why not?
It is Saturday. It's casual. It's casual Saturday.
It's casual Saturday. Yeah, Friday came in.
Not casual Friday. Casual Saturday.
No, it's much better.
All right, let's jump into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So the patch 2.3 details already coming out as the next live letter is scheduled. So it is scheduled for May 24th at, set your alarm, 4 a.m. Pacific. That's the magic day and time. And questions are already being taken for the next live letter. So now you guys have a lot of questions you'd like to get answered, Mr. Happy. Let's come back to those. So let's cover some of the stuff that we actually know. We know for weeks that Rama would be the primal that launches in 2.3, correct?
Yes.
What do you think we're going to see here, though? Another hard mode and extreme mode like Leviathan?
I don't even like calling it hard mode and extreme. I prefer story and extreme. Because if there's anything... Well, mainly because he's going to be part of the story again. Without a doubt, the name of the patch, like Through the Maelstrom and whichever one was before that, I don't even remember. He's going to be the main point of the patch. Mm-hmm. So... the story mode, if there's anything we learned from Leviathan, the story mode version of him will probably, you can go in there first time and beat it without ever seeing the fight before. That's exactly how Leviathan was, so calling it hard mode doesn't really seem fitting to me. But we're definitely going to get a story mode and an extreme. They're still calling the harder version extreme.
Fair enough, but so why does this fight have the potential to be like just really cool?
Well, the biggest reason is because he's got a giant beard.
Is that why you're growing a beard?
Yeah, it's exactly why. I'm trying to get it up to snuff with Ramu. I don't think I'll be there in time, but it's getting there. No, I'm just lazy. But lightning is unpredictable in nature, so people are expecting a little bit more RNG tactics. I am not expecting it, but it has the potential to be very unpredictable in nature.
What was it like back in 11? Byrne was talking and he said something about the summoner fight took him a really long time. So should we draw on any of those comparisons?
The only comparison I would make to it is he paralyzes a lot. That was the main thing that made it hard in 11 because 11 was a slower paced game. Being paralyzed and having one of your actions taken away from you entirely meant just being put like 10 seconds behind in the fight. And I'm sure he'll paralyze us at some point in this fight, but that's really the only comparison we can draw between the two. 11's didn't even have this magnificent beard that this one does, so it's not even a comparison.
So you think most people should just kind of like don't even try and make a comparison? Whatever.
No. Maybe lightning elementals will make some appearance. Maybe. Who knows? I think it's just the paralyzing aspect of his fight.
So the other we're also getting 2 new hard mode dungeons, so that's coming as well. Temtara Deepcroft gets the hard mode treatment. I guess these really are they what people are really waiting for? Are they really looking for these?
No, people aren't going super ham for hard modes. It's nice. So. Definitely, everybody enjoys them thoroughly their first time through. But after you've beaten them the first time, it's okay. Which one is the quickest? Even for people who don't speed run, like go hardcore and try to do the dungeon in 5-6 minutes, it's still about which dungeon can be done fastest. Because at the end of the day, the dungeon is a stepping stone for other gear since it's used to gain.
I mean, is it a good? I guess is it a good time that they're getting these out now? And they didn't, these weren't some of the first hard ones that we saw implemented. I mean, these are kind of the weaker dungeons, right?
Yeah, Tamtara was, I think, the second dungeon, or maybe the third. I don't remember what the exact order was, but it was one of the earliest dungeons. So I don't know. I mean, we've gotten Halatali was only level 20, so it wasn't that much farther past this. We already got the treatment for that. But this is, and Copperbell also was level 15. So we've gotten the treatment for that area before. I think most people are just always interested, how's it going to be different? What's the story going to be? Why are we going back there? That's what interests people. And then once they've experienced it, I think that kind of gets subsided and it just becomes more about efficiency.
Yeah. Do we know anything about that yet? Do we know anything about the story or why they're going to send you back to Deepcroft?
I mean, after the Illuminati and Brayflox, they could really do anything. Those cheese recipes. But there's dark magic down there already. Like that's a prominent point of it the first time through. Is there's a lot of dark magic and cultist activity going on down there. So it's probably going to draw similar inspirations to how Hawk Manor eventually became a hard mode. Void creatures are definitely going to inhabit it and become a major point. I'm expecting to see demons, Taurus enemies, maybe even more enemies that are like the last boss from the first one. I definitely think it's going to be very similar in theme to Hawk Manor, but not as cool.
All right, now the other one that I know people are excited about, Stone Vigil.
Yes.
So everyone's excited about this one, right? I mean, this was already one of the more difficult dungeons your first time through, wasn't it?
I think that's a problem with it.
Ooh,
is that
really?
it was one of the most difficult dungeons leveling up, because in its hard mode encounter it's not going to live up to that. There's absolutely no way it's going to live up to that, especially because people like me who've been gearing up since 2.2 have been getting the new gear with the new tomestones and the new coil. We're going to steamroll through that thing, and it's not going to in any way emulate the experience that the first one was, where you're level capped at like 41 and there's enemies that swoop down and surprise you, and you could die pretty easily in there. On top of that, for colorblind people, the last boss is just the worst. So hopefully they don't do that again, because that was horrible. Hey guys, let's put blue indicators over the blue ground. Thanks.
Bad for you, but the place does look really cool.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's one of the more unique looking dungeons in my opinion.
Any idea what you think they could do? Or you think it's just gonna be more dragons? More dragons.
I guess it's hard to tell. The reason why we went in there the first time had nothing to do with the fact that there were dragons in there. We didn't go in there to exterminate dragons. They were just in our way. This time may actually be to clean out the dragons that are in there.
Because I just can't imagine, right, lore-wise.
Yeah, it's closest. It's the closest dungeon to Dravania, which is the dragon homeland, and it's already been inhabited by dragons once, and that's the whole reason why it was abandoned in the first place. So this may be more of a rescue kind of thing, or a recover the vigil from the dragons.
Do we know anything about the new level 50 dungeon besides the name? So Hullbreaker Isle is what the new level 50 dungeon is going to be called, but do we know anything?
I think the only thing we really know is that it's somewhere in Lenosha, and that there's going to be unique weather effects that are just for Hullbreaker Isle. I think it's due to one of the bosses inside, which has led me to believe that they're going to use a Final Fantasy VI boss in there as the final boss, Typhoon. Just because I think it's going to be wind is going to be a big thing. Just that hint just says so much to me, because Typhoon was in the collector's edition art book, and everyone's like, what is he doing in here? And this is the end. Without Ultros, his buddy from Final Fantasy VI, this is the only thing that really makes sense to me.
Now, what about the Zodiac Weapon Quest? So prior to patch 2.3, Zodiac Weapon Quest will continue in patch 2.28, which we expect pretty soon, don't we?
Somebody sent me an image on my Twitter and on my Facebook of them talking to a GM, and the GM saying the patch was the same day as the live letter.
Oh, so really?
I'm not going to hold that to fact, but it could have just been he meant to say, oh, the live letter is May 24th. Just saying.
Just
that's
saying.
What the screenshot said. It might be May 24th. I'm just saying. It might be.
A few other tidbits here. Patch 2.3 will bring item desynthesis. So you're going to be able to break down those unwanted items to gain crafting mats. Is that the sound of the crafting market completely crashing?
Yeah.
To put it,
I had to listen to it because I also hear my nephew crying, so it was kind of drowning it out.
Really, is this gonna? Do you think this is gonna totally make a crash?
I think it's gonna hurt some markets. I don't think it's gonna crash too much. Most of the markets that this will probably affect probably weren't benefiting too much from. They're not benefiting much from the materials that were used in crafting some of the newer materials. And also, I'm imagining if you put 9 materials in, you won't get 9 materials back.
Sure.
So that might... It's definitely going to put a bit more in. I don't think it's really going to crash most of the markets because those markets weren't great as is. So they're probably going to maybe drop a little bit, maybe even stay the same. I think it's just something to get rid of unwanted gear. That's all I think it is.
Interesting. It's interesting that they're bringing it in now because I mean, flooding the market with more mats could have definitely an odd effect on the whole thing. But at the same time, other games pull this off, so hopefully they can balance this out and actually balance the rewards given, like you said. What the hell is the daily hunt? What's going on there? What is that?
We actually have no details on that. That's one of those things that like they sneak into the questions about the live letter and we have absolutely no idea about them prior. They've never been mentioned. We've never heard the name before. Just like,
what do you think of the fact that it has the word daily in it?
I don't think that's that bad because technically treasure hunts are daily map hunts. So I think it's I think this is actually, they mentioned at the Nico Nico event that there would be new content for 1 to 3 players. Like you could use any number because people were saying I'm always sick of having to do things in a light party or a full party. So they're trying to give us more content that's more on the spectrum of you don't need a light party, you don't need a full party, you just bring people if you want to, and you can do this every day or so.
How do they reference this daily hunt? Because I'm watching chat and people are like, nobody's even heard of this, so there's a lot of people out there I think who don't even know what it is. So yeah,
it came out of nowhere. It was literally just, oh hey, the topics for the live letter are up. Daily hunts. That the very first question under I think the Daily Hunt forum was, what is this? Which makes sense because we have no idea what it is. But I think it's going to be similar to treasure hunts. I think the rewards are going to be similar to treasure hunts. It's just going to be something else you can do on a daily basis.
All right, so we're probably going to have another... Hopefully we'll obviously get some more information on that in the future.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably have another live letter before patch 2.3.
Yeah.
Given that Frontlines and the Crystal Tower aren't being discussed this time, but they're both in patch 2.3 still, correct?
Yeah, Frontlines and
Confirmed?
Crystal Tower, yes. They we actually had it confirmed twice now. I think once at the Nico Nico event and once at Duty Commenced episode 1. I think that they used the safe wording though. They said it's currently planned. I don't think they always say that, but I'll take it as it's one of the primary features of 2.3, so we'll most likely see it.
So now I want to know what you think. You did a whole video of questions that you have for the live letters. So I don't know, what are a few of your favorite questions?
I asked about ranked teams in the Wolves Den because to me that's what ranked arenas is the only thing that makes sense. Just doing it casually, like I don't know, it's not my thing. I think Frontlines is more tailored to the entry-level PvP, whereas 4-on-4 arenas is more of the, oh, I want to take it to the next level kind of thing. I asked about daily hunts. I said, is this just going to reward more minions? That was my question. Is daily hunts just going to give you more minions? Because I need something other than minions to coerce me to do this. I asked if Ramu was going to drop a Thunder Pony. On the forums, it was a lightning-themed horse. I wanted to make it a little bit more professional. But when I first typed it up, it said Thunder Pony. And I think I asked how they changed the Zodiac questline, because even though the next part of the Zodiac is in 2.28, not 2.3, they're including it in the live letter. So I asked Then they said they delayed it because of feedback from the players. I want to know how it changed from its original implementation to its current implementation. I want to see how they used our feedback. Those are really like the big questions I want to see answered.
Well, we will see. We will see. We will see. Pretty soon.
Hopefully.
All right, I want to talk about this other duty thing, but first I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with one of our sponsors, and that is Audible. Audible.com/gamebreakers, the URL you're going to want to use. If you guys have not checked out Audible, now is your chance. I want to hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by using that URL. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's audiobooks on your iOS device, your Android device, your Kindle, whatever you got there. You're going to get a free audiobook. And I know most of you guys and girls out there are Final Fantasy fans, but there's tons of great sci-fi, tons of great fantasy. The World of Warcraft books are really good, even though it's a Final Fantasy show. I'm telling you, the World of Warcraft books are great. And War Crimes just came out. Brand new book. Came out on Audible day of release. And you could actually choose this as one of your free. Let's take a listen real quick.
It looks too peaceful and beautiful to be the prison of someone so horrible, Lady Jaina Proudmoore mused as she approached the Temple of the White Tiger. She, the Blue Dragon Calicos, Ranger General Verisa Windrunner, and King Varian Rin rode in a cart drawn by a steady-footed yak, whose fluffy fur indicated the beast had been freshly bathed. In acknowledgement of the honored status of the passengers, the cart had been upholstered with silk cushions in vibrant shades, though the travelers did bounce a bit when a wheel hit a rut.
So this is the current story of Garrosh and Pandaria, of what's going on. There's a bunch of other World of Warcraft books in here as well if you want to catch up on some of the older lore if you're unfamiliar, but definitely the newest one by Christy Golden can be yours absolutely free if you guys don't have an account. So support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsor Audible. Love having these guys on board. Just go to audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, let's up today. Let's the duty commenced. Aired on Friday. So for those who are unaware, Duty Commenced is a show that the community team, the XIV community team, started about a month ago?
Yeah, that was when they did the first episode.
About a month ago they started a show. So the show mostly keeps everyone up to date on things like forum topics and recently revealed news that we may be unaware of. How was the show? I know that you had to watch it. What do you think?
It was good fun, but it's definitely a community show. I think a lot of people going in kept forgetting it wasn't the development team speaking. That it's mostly just to catch everyone up to date.
Do they just keep getting fielded and thrown those questions about development? That's pretty much what the chat room does. Yeah,
pretty much. And then people, when they don't talk about all the new stuff coming in like 2.3 or anything, then people got very upset. But I think that it's definitely they need to develop it more into a community show, not just a repeat what's on the forums kind of show. Actually, like log into the game and do some fun things and maybe get events together on servers. The show's only an hour, but that would be really a more community-oriented show, and they could always mix in those other things if they really wanted to. Like somebody in the chat said, rough around the edges, but I think that as long as people keep supporting it, it can be a more fun show.
They started the show off with something. They started the show off with duty recommendations based on what people wanted to hear in the episode, and the first recommendation was be nicer to Kamate. So what happened? Was there some major problem in episode 1?
Well, Gary, you've played MMOs before, and no way.
And the community is always just stellar, and they're very, very nice.
Kamate is a tank, so it's always the tank's fault, right? Everything's always the tank's fault. It has to be the tank's fault. If it's not the tank's fault, it's the healer's fault. Like, that's just how it works. So because Kamate is the tank of the group, everything is his fault. Audio doesn't work, it's his fault. Limit break bar didn't go up, it's his fault. In fact, the limit break bar was going up when they insulted him. So not insulting him would have hindered the party. His fault again.
All right, so be nicer. Be nicer.
No, they ignored that one completely.
Totally, of course. The internet. The second was to talk about the Nico event, which we talked about on a prior show, and the third was to spoil all the information about 2.3, and you can guess that recommendation was completely overlooked. So,
yeah, absolutely. Like, I think they were like, I think we'd be fired if we did that. Yeah, fired. Well, Kamate, you can you can go ahead and do it. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That's
so from what I know, it seemed to focus most on the Nico event. So was there any new information that our local translators missed?
Not really. Some things came to light a little bit clearer, like the cost for personal housing and the timing for the personal rooms and the personal houses, and being able to set permissions on your friends list of who could come into your house and who couldn't. It brought a little bit more to light that may have been slightly hard to understand through translations without paraphrasing. But if you look it through multiple sources, you could pretty much have found any of that information on the internet already.
A few things that they kind of gave clarification on, which were nice to hear about. Most of these things were like dev posts and the official forums and things like that. And I think we've discussed some of this stuff here as well. But first topic that was pretty interesting, I think most people would want to be sure to be tuned in about, is the echo. So it seems that, like, despite the echo and binding coil, they said it would go up every 2 weeks. They'd be ratcheting it up to a maximum of 30%. It's actually been confirmed that the development team has halted increases based on like the amount of times people have cleared coil. So
yeah,
do we know where they've halted that? Or
15%. They looked at the information. They said based on the number of clears versus the number of attempts versus the number of clears, they deemed that 15% was more than sufficient. And it's actually, a lot of people have been complaining that more echo might actually make the fight, some might make turn 5 specifically harder, because you have to control the phases, or you get very unfortunate phase transitions where somebody's completely trapped and you need to DPS them out of something while the boss is jumping up into the air and diving across the arena, and you need to be in the right spot for that. So doing even more damage might make the timing even worse. So at this point, people are already holding back DPS just to prevent these things. So adding more wouldn't have really done much.
Next one, a little quality of life issue that I think a lot of people will enjoy. In patch 2.28, display settings for your visor would be saved with your gear sets. So nice little touch. You don't have to no more slash visor when you put on some gear. Finally, the UI for expert delivery hand-ins is being made more convenient. Don't really know what that means, but is this a big deal right now?
It was pretty much the clunkiest piece of UI in the game. It's pretty much you go to an NPC, you tell him you want to give him items, supply and provisioning. Then you go to expert delivery. Then you select the item that you want to trade in. Then it brings up your inventory and a little confirmation box. You right-click the confirmation box and put the item in. Then you do that. Then you confirm that you wanted to actually do that. It pretty much looked like it came right out of 1.0. It's by far the most clunky thing you can use, and you can't. And then every time you want to do a hand-in, you have to scroll through the list again and find the piece. You can't just like go into your inventory, right-click, hand-in, and get the seals. You have to actually go through the list and find the item. And if you have as much items as like I do, it's horrible trying to find those items. So it was pretty bad.
That is getting fixed. And finally, I guess just to mention, if you guys haven't checked out this show, you might want to tune in because they're also doing giveaways. So right before the show ended, they did a giveaway. They gave away the original soundtrack to A Realm Reborn. So if you want to win prizes, tune into those episodes. Any last bit of news here? I know we're mostly waiting for like Live Letter and E3 for some big news. Anything else?
I just want to briefly mention something we weren't sure if we are going to have time to. Yoshi P said he would like to add jumping puzzles into the game.
Oh, no.
Come on. I was one of my favorite parts of Guild Wars 2.
I hate them.
Was jumping puzzles.
Mainly because I'm bad
at them.
Yeah,
people were bad at them.
Yeah, that's why you hate them. If you're good at them, you love them. If you're bad at them, you hate them. I was terrible at them in Guild Wars 2. I'm terrible at them in WildStar. So yeah, I died.
Oh, come on. The Explorer's Path is the best path in WildStar.
That's what I thought it would be, but I'm not. I can't do it. The jumping puzzles just drive me nuts. Nope, going straight up Soldier. All right, gang. Thanks for tuning in for the live stream on a Saturday. No, it's an odd day and time. For the next few weeks, we'll be doing either Saturday or Sunday. We're trying to stick to the schedule, but we'll see. So just pay attention to social media. And we'll be back next week for some more XIV talk. So Michael Povermo, follow him on Twitter at Mr. Happy1227. make sure to go over his YouTube channel and check out his Final Fantasy XIV videos and all that good stuff, and right here on the XIV Reborn. Follow me at Gary Gannon, follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV. Make sure to go to gamebreaker.tv/deals to check it out. Don't pay full price for games. Make sure to check our deals page for games, including WildStar. We got like 20% off that bad boy. It was like $15, so don't pay full price. Go check it out first. All right, gang, we'll see you next week for some more Final Fantasy.